Welcome to LUME Auto, where innovation meets imagination and the roads of the future come alive in every frame. Today, we take you into the heart of the desert, where heat shimmers on the horizon and the sound of silence is broken only by the hum of power. This is the 2036 Porsche Vortex X, the world's first electric sandjet. A vehicle so advanced, so daring in its philosophy, that it blurs the boundaries between supercar and spacecraft. The Vortex X isn't just a machine. It's an evolution of motion, sculpted for the dunes, crafted for those who crave both speed and serenity. The story begins deep within Stuttgart, where Porsche's secret innovation lab, Project Ether, was tasked with a question: how can a car fly across sand the way a falcon glides through air? From that question emerged the vision of the Vortex X. Engineers imagined a sleek, aerodynamic masterpiece, one that could handle desert extremes without a single piston or fuel drop. Its foundation wasn't steel but graphene titanium composite, a material lighter than carbon fiber yet stronger than anything used in automotive history. Every curve of the car was designed not just for looks, but to manipulate air and sand flow, channeling particles like a controlled storm beneath its chassis. When the first prototype took shape, Porsche's designers called it the Whisper of Thunder. The Vortex X's exterior gleamed in LUME silver, a color designed to mirror desert sunlight yet keep the body cool through nanothermal paint. The iconic Porsche lines were reborn in futuristic form. Razor-thin LED veins ran along its contours, glowing softly as if alive. Its wheels weren't traditional rims but magnetic hover turbines, capable of adjusting their lift height depending on terrain. On smooth sand, it floated, barely kissing the surface, while on rocks or ridges, it re-engaged traction with micro-adjustments measured in milliseconds. Inside, the Vortex X defied expectations. Gone were conventional seats and dials. Instead, the cockpit was an emotional space capsule. Two sculpted lounge pods made of adaptive memory gel that conformed to each passenger's posture. The dashboard was a floating holographic arc, responding to gestures and voice commands. Porsche introduced something called the aerodrive interface, a transparent control plane projected directly onto the windshield, blending the physical and digital worlds. You didn't drive the Vortex X. You guided it like an aircraft. The real breakthrough, however, came from its propulsion system. Porsche's. The day of the endurance run dawned over the Arabian sands like molten gold poured across the horizon. The Porsche Vortex X waited silently on the edge of the Rub al Khali, the empty quarter, its sleek metallic form glinting against the dunes. Engineers, journalists, and a select few collectors gathered around, their excitement palpable. This was not just a test of engineering. It was a trial of philosophy, of human ambition fused with machine precision. Could an electric vehicle survive, even thrive, in an environment that devoured everything mechanical? When the ignition sequence began, there was no roar, only a rising harmonic pulse, the whisper of plasma spinning through magnetic turbines. The quad-flux power core glowed softly beneath the transparent hood, its energy fields pulsing like a heartbeat. As the signal was given, the Vortex X surged forward, gliding onto the sand with effortless grace. At 300 kilometers per hour, it didn't plow through dunes. It skimmed over them, its magnetic hover turbines adjusting hundreds of times per second. From afar, it looked less like a car and more like a jet skimming across the earth. Inside the cockpit, the temperature remained perfectly cool. The aerodrive interface mapped real-time data across the windshield, highlighting wind patterns, sand density, and thermal activity. The driver's hands barely moved. Every gesture was mirrored by the car's AI co-pilot, Helion, which anticipated conditions before they arrived. As the dunes rose higher, Helion whispered in calm tones, adjusting lift and downforce seamlessly. Sand density decreasing by 0.3%. Adjusting hover vector, it said, its voice as smooth as glass. The car responded instantly, maintaining balance like a dancer on the edge of chaos. By the 300-kilometer mark, temperatures outside reached 61 degrees. The air shimmered. Heat waves distorted the horizon. Yet the Vortex X thrived. Its nanothermal cooling vanes kept the power cells at optimal temperature, while the undercarriage's liquid nitrogen channels pulsed with icy blue light. Observers tracking the car via drone feeds marveled at how cleanly it cut through the air, its active aerodynamic fins shifting like feathers in slow motion. Porsche engineers monitored telemetry, each data spike a note in a symphony of perfection. As night descended, the desert transformed. Under a canopy of stars, the Vortex X became a living sculpture of light. Its LED vanes glowed gold and white, tracing patterns through the darkness. The driver, now several hours into the run, switched the car into silent glide mode, a setting that reduced propulsion sound to near zero. The only thing audible was the faint rush of sand. Inside, ambient lighting dimmed to match the moonlight, and soft instrumental music filled the cabin. It was meditation at 250 kilometers per hour. Halfway through the journey, the Vortex X encountered what engineers feared most: a sandstorm. Sensors detected it 40 kilometers away, an enormous wall of dust and chaos sweeping across the desert like a tidal wave. Most vehicles would have turned back, but not this one. The Vortex Aero Shroud activated, expanding its kinetic fins and forming an invisible energy barrier that redirected air turbulence. The car dove straight into the storm. Visibility dropped to zero. The sand pounded against its graphene titanium body like bullets. Yet inside, calm remained. The holographic display projected a radar-based path forward, every microsecond recalculating terrain deformation. At the 1,000-kilometer mark, dawn returned, painting the dunes in amber and rose. The Vortex X emerged from the storm, clean and gleaming, not a single scratch on its mirrored surface. It paused at the top of a dune ridge, overlooking the endless sea of sand, as if savoring the victory. Engineers following in support drones couldn't believe what they saw. Battery efficiency had only dropped 4%, meaning it had gained energy through regenerative sand compression. Porsche had rewritten physics in the desert. As the journey continued toward the border of Oman, something profound became clear. The Vortex X wasn't just surviving, it was learning. Its onboard systems began to adapt to new terrains, adjusting hover height and energy usage autonomously. It detected subtle shifts in magnetic fields caused by mineral-rich sands and used them to improve navigation accuracy. Each kilometer made it smarter, faster, more in tune with its environment. The desert, once an adversary, had become its symphony. Meanwhile, the world watched live. Social media exploded with the hashtag #NashVortexRun as people tuned in to witness history. Viewers described the experience as watching a mirage come to life. The sleek golden streak cutting through the dunes became an instant symbol of the future, where sustainability met thrill, where technology and artistry embraced in motion. Porsche's legacy had entered a new dimension, no longer defined by racetracks, but by horizons without end. As night fell once more, the Vortex X approached the final stretch. The desert grew darker, the air cooler. The driver activated pulse mode, causing the LED vanes to glow rhythmically, echoing the car's heartbeat. A drone captured the moment from above, a single golden line moving across infinite darkness, like a shooting star reborn on Earth. The endurance test had become something greater, a pilgrimage of innovation. And yet, this was just the beginning. The third and final part reveals what happened when Porsche unveiled the production model of the Vortex X to the world, where billionaires, governments, and even aerospace companies lined up to own the first electric sandjet, designed not just for driving, but for defying nature itself. Subscribe for more luxury car stories from Ace. When Porsche returned to Stuttgart, the world was waiting. The Vortex X endurance test had not only broken records, it had rewritten what humanity believed a car could do. Within days, the live-streamed footage reached over 200 million views. The media called it the birth of the desert era. For the first time, a car wasn't just built to conquer roads, It was designed to redefine landscapes. In a monumental event called the LUME Summit 2036, Porsche unveiled the production version of the Vortex X under a dome of shifting holographic dunes. The stage glowed in waves of light as the car descended from above, suspended by magnetic fields. When it touched the floor, the crowd fell silent. It wasn't just the soundless power or the flowing design, it was the aura. The Vortex X felt alive, like a creature evolved for another planet. Oliver Blume, Porsche's CEO, stepped forward and said, "We no longer drive on Earth, we glide above it." His words echoed across the arena as the car activated its ether-wing suspension, lifting itself gently above the platform. The lights reflected off its crystalline panels, shimmering in colors that changed with angle and intensity. This wasn't chrome or paint. It was quantum-coated glass, reflecting energy fields rather than absorbing them. Porsche's engineers called it liquid light armor. Underneath, the quad-flux power core had evolved. It now used helium-graphene fusion cells, capable of generating 2,200 horsepower with zero emissions and recharging via direct sunlight or atmospheric ion absorption. The Vortex X could theoretically drive forever as long as it remained under open skies. The car's software, Helion OS 3.0, learned from every mile driven in the prototype phase. It could read microclimates, anticipate sandstorms, and even project holographic navigation tunnels in low visibility. It wasn't just intelligent, it was intuitive. Inside, luxury reached a level beyond imagination. The cabin no longer felt like a car, it was a floating observatory. The panoramic canopy could shift from transparent to opaque in seconds, adjusting automatically to light and temperature. The air itself was ionized and infused with micro-aromatics simulating ocean breezes or forest air. Porsche partnered with Bang & Olufsen Quantum Sound to create a 360-degree acoustic field, allowing the entire cabin to vibrate in harmony with the engine's plasma pulse. The result was symphonic motion. Every acceleration felt like music. Buyers weren't just purchasing transportation. They were buying freedom. The Vortex X could travel across 2,000 kilometers of desert, scale dunes, cross shallow waters, and then glide silently onto highways without a transition. It was both sandjet and city cruiser. For billionaires in Dubai, Monaco, and Los Angeles, it became an instant obsession. Within 48 hours of launch, all 99 limited units of the Founders Edition were sold out. Each was priced at $6.4 million and included a personal AI assistant, trained on the owner's driving and lifestyle patterns. One of the most striking details was the LUME AUTO insignia, a glowing emblem on the hood, symbolizing Porsche's partnership with the visionary design house that helped craft the Vortex's aesthetic. LUME's design philosophy, power in serenity, was embodied in every millimeter of the vehicle. The badge itself emitted a soft golden pulse when the car was idle, as if breathing. In the months following its debut, the Vortex X transformed global perception of luxury. The Middle East saw the creation of Skyway tracks, special routes designed for hover-capable vehicles. Environmentalists, initially skeptical, hailed the car's near-zero ecological footprint and energy recycling system. Porsche even announced plans for a humanitarian edition, capable of delivering supplies across uncharted desert zones where traditional vehicles couldn't reach. But the story didn't end there. A year later, a mysterious test was conducted deep in the Sahara. Satellite footage captured what appeared to be a convoy of Vortex X prototypes moving in perfect formation, each glowing faintly blue under the night sky. Rumors spread that Porsche was testing autonomous swarm technology, a system where multiple Vortex units could commune.